Congratulations, you're dead. A black and white big head photo, gesturing with scissor hands and laughing heartily, appeared in my eyes. Ghost shadow. Yin Ming Stele. When the dead soul appears behind the ghost, it can be opened. Ghost shadow. Am I dead? I am actually Yang Jiao. In the mythological world, the elder brother of the Erlang God Yang Jian and the Sanniang Yang Jiao. Now it is precisely after the Yang family was exterminated. I'm really dead. Yang Jiao immediately lowered his head to look at his elusive body, then looked around and saw two lonely and rudimentary small graves in front of him. I suddenly felt a sense of grief and anger. This book is also known as The Buddha is the Way, and Ghosts Are Also Gods. I want to be the Heavenly Emperor, the Heavenly Demon Lord. Struggle day, no one should lie down for me, roll it up, and I never expected that sword cultivation would be myself. Keywords of the novel. Starting from the prequel of the Baoyan lamp, crossing the heavens without pop-ups. Starting from the prequel of the Baoyan lamp, crossing the heavens. Download the complete text, and starting from the prequel of the Baoyan lamp, crossing the heavens. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. I refine myself. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. I refine myself. Congratulations, you're dead. A black and white big head photo, gesturing with scissor hands and laughing heartily, appeared in my eyes. Ghost shadow. Yin Ming Stele. When the dead soul appears behind the ghost, it can be opened. Ghost shadow. Am I dead? The phantom's illusory body shook for a moment, as if remembering something. In the sea of souls, several unforgettable sounds emerged. Give it back to my husband. Give back my son. First, there was a piercing and desperate scream. Listening to the familiar voice, he couldn't help but feel blocked in his heart. He wanted to speak, but found that he couldn't open his mouth no matter what. In the blink of an eye, another pair of very friendly young girls cried, causing inexplicable sadness and unwillingness in his heart. Suddenly, a cold, heartless and indifferent voice exploded in the soul sea. Someone, kill the door. In an instant, the confusion in the ghostly eyes faded away, and the ghostly eyes suddenly became clear and murmured to themselves. I am actually Yang Jiao. In the mythological world, the elder brother of the Erlang God Yang Jian and the Sanniang Yang Jiao. Now it is after the Yang family was exterminated. I'm really dead. Yang Jiao immediately lowered his head to look at his elusive body, then looked around and saw the two lonely and rudimentary small graves in front of him, feeling extremely sad and angry. Unexpectedly, reincarnation leads to a mythological world, but one falls into the mystery of being in the womb. It is only after death that the golden finger is opened to awaken memories from previous lives. Damn it. However, as a top extreme climber in his previous life, his good psychological qualities forced him to quickly calm down. In his past life, he died unexpectedly when he was climbing the most difficult route in the world, the Chief Rock. As soon as he reached the top and looked around, a black dot in the void hit him. It should be the remnant monument in my own soul sea now. Suddenly, Yang Jiao's illusory body shook violently, his eyes turned black, and he arrived at a land of nothingness. A broken and black mixed-colored stone monument caught the ghost's eye. Most of the body on the stone tablet has disappeared, leaving only 1/3 of the body in base. Yang Jiao squinted his eyes and carefully observed that the remaining stone tablet was engraved with a dense collection of small characters with flying heads. When he gazed intently, the text on the monument immediately became clear. Yin Ming Stele. Originally a 9-star mixed-element treasure, the former owner of the stele made many enemies during the process of repairing the body. He was calculated by multiple powerful figures and was besieged, not only falling into eternal silence, but also causing the Yin Ming Stele to be robbed. Most of the body was smashed, leaving only the remaining stele to break through and escape. Below is the black and white headshot of oneself, pasted on the body of the monument. Yin Ming Stele successfully opened. Yin Ming Stele. 3 stars, broken, repair progress bar. 0%, location. Under the eternal Dala, within the realms of the heavens and all realms, the primordial realm of the world of the lotus lamp, steel owner. Yang Jiao, realm. None, the power of the world's origin. 1. Bloodline. God-man mixed blood, monument owner's inheritance ability, the Lord of heaven and hell, the source of endless demonic ways in the heavens, which can absorb all the negative energy of ownerless attributes to strengthen oneself, including but not limited to absorbing demonic energy, ghost energy, demonic energy, resentment, etc., the heavenly demon master of the great freedom of all heavens. Consuming the power of the world's origin, one can transform into a demon from outside the domain and descend into his or her own body in all heavens and realms. The Monument Lord can perfectly bring back the strength of his or her body, which has transformed into a demon from outside the domain, to the main world. Repairing the Yin Underworld stele. Intercepting the power of the world's origin in the various heavens and boundaries. Method 1. Obtain the trust and permission of the world heavenly Tao to obtain a large amount of source power. Advantages. Large volume, capable of flowing fine water for a long time, and high safety. Disadvantages. Difficulty, slow effectiveness, and difficulty in achieving success. Method 2. Modify or distort the original world storyline to gain the power of the world's origin. Advantages. Simple and easy to learn, can obtain a large amount of world origin power in a short period of time. Disadvantages. If you pull too much wool, you will be hated by others. If you shoot one shot, you will need to switch to a different location, which will slow down the effect. Additionally, you will be rejected by the heavenly Tao of all heavens and all realms, and you may be tricked by others. At the end, Yang Jiao couldn't help but shudder. The remnants of the monument had a great desire for survival, and everything was written clearly. Staring for a while, his heavy heart finally relaxed a bit. Immediately, his mind spun and he left this void, intending to try the inheritance ability of the Yin Ming Stele. Yang Jiao was hidden in his small grave bag, and as his mind spun, the ability of the Heavenly and Yin Lord was activated. Within a radius of 1 zhang, a trace of extremely cold black spiritual energy slowly and continuously converged on his body, gradually spreading throughout the entire ghost body. At this moment, he could clearly perceive that his soul was slowly solidifying. If he used to be a candle in the wind, then now he is like an oil lamp constantly being filled with oil. The enhancement of the essence of life, a sudden sense of security, appeared in his heart. Time flies in an instant, 3 days have passed. Suddenly, Yang Jiao woke up with a sudden startle, and a faint light gradually lit up at the center of the ghost body's eyebrows hidden in the small tomb bag. The Yin Ming Stele stands out faintly inside, with only a line of realms visible on the body of the stele. It has become the word 1-year ghost, and even the power of the world's origin has changed from 1 to 10. Yang Jiao couldn't help but secretly think that his own existence would also affect the plot of this world. At this moment, he thought about it again and estimated that at the current pace, simply using the abilities of the heavenly, stable, Yin, and Dark Lord with all his might would not be able to quickly give himself the power to protect himself. Moreover, the place where I am located is not surrounded by a chaotic burial mound like Underworld in the front, and I cannot touch the Underworld in the back. I'm afraid if he doesn't have any practical combat ability yet, he will be approached by the troops of the heavenly court. You should know that on the day of the Yang family's downfall, all 4 members of the Yang family died, except for their mother Yao Ji, who was captured and taken to heaven. However, at that time, the underworld only received the soul of its father Yang Qiannu, and it is feared that it will immediately report to the heavens. The Queen Mother of the Jade Emperor will surely believe that she, like Yang Jian and Yang Chan, has not died. I will definitely use the same tactics as dealing with my second brother and third sister to deal with myself, laying a trap in the 3 realms and searching for his whereabouts. The danger was imminent, and Yang Jiao knew in his heart that he could not continue like this. Even his second younger brother Yang Jian, who possessed the aura of the protagonist, had gone through several lifetimes before becoming the sage true lord of Jiaohui Erlang, and countless times he narrowly escaped death. Being constantly interrupted and facing chaos, burying one's head here to absorb the unowned yin and cold spiritual energy, will only lead to a dead end. The fierce force that had been ingrained in the bones of the past life surfaced in my eyes, and my eyes flashed with a fierce expression, decisively looking towards my own grave. I was originally thinking of protecting my own body, but when the third sister Yang Chan's Baoyan lamp came to life, it could be used to resurrect me. However, I didn't expect that human beings are not as good as heaven. Leaving aside the imminent crisis of life and death, let's talk about the distant Baoyan lamp, which is still in the lotus pond of the Golden Light Cave on Qiannu Mountain and has not yet appeared in the world. With his current ghostly body strength, Qiannu Mountain, which is at least thousands of miles away from him, is far away. It's simply an impossible place to reach. Not to mention the heavenly soldiers, generals, and various demons along the way. At this point, it is necessary to put in a fight and quickly obtain enough power from the world's origin, activate external demons, and travel through the heavens to develop a wave, which is the way. Be willing to be willing, only when there is a willingness can there be something. Yang Jiao's ghost body entered his tomb like cooking smoke, and he saw a corpse without even a thin coffin. Erlang, you're really miserable. No one even sold you a coffin. A slight self-teasing can relieve the slightly nervous spirit. And secretly encouraged himself. The bloodline corpse of the first deity in this world to descend must have some source of power, it shouldn't be so tragic. I refine myself, whether it's life or death, here's a fight. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Qiannu Ghost Demon Lord 7 Nights. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Ghost of a Beautiful Girl. Demon Lord 7 Nights. The black spiritual mist instantly enveloped the corpse, and in no time, the entire body turned into smoke, which was then absorbed by the dim light at the center of the eyebrows. Yang Jiao took advantage of the situation and immersed himself in the gloomy monument, feeling slightly nervous and anxious. The line on the stele that records the power of the world's origin slowly increased from 10 to 1010 words. In an instant, his mood eased. In the dark, my heart felt a sense that the ability of the extraterrestrial demon could be activated. Without any hesitation, Yang Jiao sat down with his ghost body and immediately unleashed the extraterrestrial demon. Amidst the smoke from the kitchen, a trace of his consciousness was instantly projected onto the Yin Ming Stele. In a daze, Yang Jiao seemed to feel as if he was hovering on a vast and gloomy avenue, crossing the seas of countless realms and crossing the endless stars. Suddenly, his spirit shook and his consciousness suddenly came to a clear consciousness. His eyes opened, only to find that he had already changed to a different world. He was walking slowly to the bronze mirror in an antique attic, and a tall and handsome young man who appeared slightly gloomy and indifferent appeared in the mirror. Then, Yang Jiao stretched out his body and once again felt the real flesh and blood of his body. Unlike in the main world, no matter how solid the ghost body is, it has not reached a certain level, and from beginning to end, there is a sense of unreality and ethereal. Secondly, countless pure and incomparable yin and cold spiritual energies are continuously flowing into one's body. Yang Jiao was inexplicably aware that the heavenly and dark lord was a passive skill that could be automatically activated without the need for active use. Immediately, he calmed down and began to merge the memories in his mind. After a stick of incense. The 17 years of his and my memories in this world have all been fused, without any discomfort, as if this is already my own memory. This is a cave world that can complement the heavenly demon star in the sky, and the heavenly demon star is the true demon world in this world. The place where he is located is called the Qiannu Dynasty by the three realms, and he lives inside the Qiannu Demon Palace. He is the contemporary saint of the Qiannu Dynasty, named 7 Nights. In the Yin Moon Dynasty, the only king holding the power of life and death in the demon realm, as well as the leader of the demon realm kneeling under his command, the lord of all demons. However, a domineering and prominent identity is no match for this life that he and I joke about. His life is a conspiracy, his reincarnation is a curse, and his love is a sigh. Yang Jiao didn't expect to travel to the world of the TV drama version of The Ghost of a Beautiful Girl. Speaking of which, this can also be considered a turning point for the times. This world is simply his chosen place, and it should not be too compatible with the inheritance ability provided by his own Yin and Ming Stele, the lord of the heavenly Ding Yin and Ming. I originally only remembered the general plot of the world, but gradually became clear and profound under the shadow of the Yin Ming Stele projected from within my eyebrows. The plot slowly runs through my heart. The most important storyline in this world is the legendary once every 20 years day when the heavenly demon Chong Chi Sha. There will be 7 generations of vengeful couples in this world, and the demon world will be conquered by the power of the 7 generations of vengeful couples. From then on, the world will become an endless hell. However, the truth of the matter is that in the beginning, there was only a demon realm in this world, which was the heavenly demon clan. But I don't know when humans appeared, and then there was a great battle between humans and demons, and all the heavenly demons were driven away and killed. Their resentment converged into the heavenly demon star, in order to turn all things in the world into demons and allow the heavenly demon to rule the world again. Therefore, every 20 years on the 15th day of the first month of the lunar calendar, the Yuan Shao, filled round balls made of glutinous rice. Flour for Lantern Festival, the demon star will appear, a vision of the demon rushing against the 7 evil spirits, falling into the world to lure people into evil. Afterwards, by chance, a piece of heavenly demon mind resulted in the tragedy of 3 top-notch sword makers. This led to the emergence of the 7 generations of resentment couples, and all of this unfolded from then on, which is the apparent storyline. Behind the scenes, although the heavenly demon has been eliminated, there is still a demon from the heavenly demon clan who lives on in the world. She is the dark side of the moon demon. She had spent thousands of years planning for the birth of the heavenly demon, but was never successful. It wasn't until she saw the appearance of the 7 generations of grudges that she realized it was the opportunity to push the heavenly demon to descend and demonize the world. So, he became the mastermind behind everything, in the 6th generation of the 7th generation of the resentful couple. Quietly possessed by the Yin Moon Empress of the Yin Moon Empire. Then, after the birth of the 7th generation of the resentful couple, the Empress Dowager Qiannu, who is now Yang Jiao's mother, seized the 7th generation of the resentful couple. Starting to slowly plan and promote the birth of the 7th generation of resentful couples. And now, with 7 nights of his and my body, he is one of the 7 worried couples, and the other is Nie Xiaoqian, who grew up being carried into the Yin Moon Demon Palace from a young age. But now, except for the Empress Dowager Qiannu, no one knows that the contemporary Qiannu Saint 7 Nights is a 7-generation resentful couple. Even the demons in the Yin Moon Demon Palace only know that Nie Xiaoqian is a 7th-generation resentful couple. At first, it was Empress Dowager Qiannu who used to use her magic technique to extract their souls from her true body, who were originally 7 generations of vengeful couples. Put them into 2 newly born demons, and their true bodies, which have accumulated 7 generations of resentment, are locked in the forbidden area of the Phantom Wave Pool in the Yin Moon Demon Palace. After the plot begins, Moon Demon uses the body of Empress Dowager Qiannu to design a plan for Nie Xiaoqian and Ning Qichen to meet, know, and love each other. Later, rumors spread that Ning Qichen was a 7th-generation unhappy couple, causing Nie Xiaoqian and Ning Qichen to love each other wholeheartedly. Later on, when the righteous and demonic learned that he and I had been together for 7 nights, they were the true 7th-generation vengeful couple. Nie Xiaoqian and Ning Qichen have already had a deep affection, which has completely shaped the 7th-generation feud between Qie and Nie Xiaoqian. At the same time, the Moon Demon also conspired with the leader of the righteous path, Jin Guang, to almost kill his biological mother, teacher, and subordinates who had been with me for 7 nights. Later, Jin Guang hung the body of his biological mother, 7 nights, in front of him, exploding into a state of complete destruction, leaving his soul in a state of disbelief and desperation, forcing his original 6 relatives to disown him. At this point, he and I, the 7 knights, have completely decided to abandon everything and become obsessed with the world. With the resentment of the 7 generations, we will lead the heavenly demon to descend and demonize the world on the day when the heavenly demon rushes towards the 7 devils. In the original plot, Moon Demon cultivates 7 knights for 20 years. It is to make him lose his love and love, destroy the world, and become the demon lord who leads the demon clan. Finally, it is evident that the Moon Demon has achieved it. After the plot was fully understood, Yang Jiao didn't pay much attention to it. Instead, it was filled with feelings of infatuation between men and women. He doesn't care about the 7th generation couple, focusing on his career is the way. Now that we know the specific storyline, his goal is to enhance his own strength with the highest cost-effectiveness, and to do his best to strengthen himself. Now, even obtaining the power of the world's origin is secondary. Silently pondering for an unknown amount of time, the plan in my heart was slowly sorted out and completed. In my heart, I secretly thought that there is nothing more cost-effective than luring the heavenly demon to descend and swallow the infinite resentment of the heavenly demon in this world while the heavenly demon is charging towards the 7 devils, and strengthening oneself. He is the owner of the Yin Ming Stele, the source of countless heavenly demons, attracting them to descend. Isn't this a matter of sheep entering the tiger's mouth and pleasing to the mouth? By the way, demonizing the world also follows the meaning of the heavenly way in this world. Can the power of the world's origin also be obtained? You should know that this world was born out of the devil's way. The more Yang Jiao thought about it, the more likely it was. He felt like he might give it a try, and a satisfied expression appeared on his face. His eyes couldn't help but sparkle, and he murmured to himself. In this world, I will become a demon. The world has turned into a world of demons. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Making the Qiannu dynasty once again great. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Making the Qiannu dynasty once again great. Yang Jiao silently calculated that there was still 1 year left before the plot officially began, and 3 more years left before the next day when the heavenly demon charged against the 7 devils. He needed to hurry up. The first thing now is to become familiar with and enhance one's own strength. Immediately, I became familiar with the 2 martial arts skills that he and I were specializing in, 1 attack and 1 defense, all of which were the supreme magical skills of the Yin Moon Emperor's lineage. The attack is the heaven-slaying sword technique, consisting of 9 layers, 1 to 3 layers. Initially, it is performed thousands of times a day, with full effort to draw, and withdraw the sword, striving to achieve 3 points of speed, accuracy, and ruthlessness until the ultimate level of the technique is reached. The 3rd layer is completed by using a wooden sword to cut stones and iron. From 4 to 6 levels, the Dantian Qi Si magic is attached to the body's fur, flesh, and bones, and is combined with the magic energy of heaven and earth on the body, making its strength follow the Qi to achieve a smooth and harmonious effect without leaking any breath, which is the 6th level of perfection. 7 to 9 levels, polishing and enhancing spiritual attributes, using a mindset of idealism and selfishness to control the first 2 skills and methods, integrating essence, energy, and spirit, and wielding a sword that is unparalleled in sharpness and destroys all things in a domineering manner, achieving the perfection of 9 levels. Defense is the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Classic, which is a top-notch Qi refining and magic skill that can be practiced both inside and outside. Similar to the heaven-slaying sword technique, it is divided into 9 levels, 1 to 3 levels. It can train the body to the level of refined iron, and 4 to 6 levels can manifest an invisible layer of Qi armor on the skin surface. 7 to 9 levels, combined with inner and outer elements, smelt a set of martial arts that are invincible, impervious to water and fire, with endless magical power and an indestructible demon body. Yang Jiao used his arm to move the heavenly demon holy armor classic within his body, and a layer of light quietly appeared on his skin, which was undoubtedly the chi armor of the heavenly demon holy armor classic. It was then immediately melted into his flesh. At this moment, he realized that the ability of the extraterrestrial demon was not just about simply taking away our bodies from the heavens, but truly becoming the master. All of our bodies, talents, memories, emotions, and techniques had already been inherited by him. In this world, he is also the 7-Night Saint of the Yin Moon Dynasty. With the operation of his martial arts, Yang Jiao's mind became increasingly clear, and he couldn't help but marvel at the unparalleled talent of his original body, 7 Nights. At the age of only 17, he had already completed the 7th level of the Heaven-Slaying Sword technique and the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Classic. You should know that the 6 saints of the previous Yin Dynasty, who had practiced for most of their lives, only achieved their initial success and reached the 7th level. However, it is still not strong enough. In the original plot, the 6 holy sovereigns relied on their cultivation and led a demon army to seize the 7 worried couples. However, they were killed alone by Yin Xiaoqian. Over the past 2 decades, Yin Xiaoqian and other righteous individuals have undoubtedly become more proficient in their martial arts, but still not strong enough. Even with their original 7-night appearance in the plot, their magic skills have roughly broken through to the 8th level, but they are on par with Yin Xiaoqian. 7 generations of resentment couple, 7 generations of resentment couple, his true body that has accumulated 7 generations of resentment. Yang Jiao's spiritual light flashed, and without retrieving his true body, he had already used his talent so perversely. If he retrieved his true body, wouldn't he be able to fully utilize his talent? Action is better than heart's desire. Yang Jiao swiftly arrived at the main hall of the Yin Moon Demon Palace, sat high on the throne, and immediately sent someone to summon the 4 sages of the Demon Palace. Not long after, 3 male and 1 female humanoid demons walked into the main hall. They were the backbone of the Demon Palace that had been loyal to the Holy Emperor for generations, and also the right arm of the Holy Sovereigns throughout history. "See your Majesty." Yang Jiao nodded and said indifferently, "I, the Holy Lord, will soon be in seclusion for a year. If you have any important matters, you can discuss with Teacher Jing." The 4 sages, namely the evil dragon, Wujian, hungry ghost, and Shura, looked at each other in confusion and didn't understand why Yang Jiao suddenly wanted to close down. The female demon Shura spoke up first and asked with great concern. "Holy Lord, but what went wrong with the magic technique?" The upright dragon immediately shouted, "The Holy Lord is still young, you need to be more careful. I will go up and call Teacher Mirror. He is the Holy Lord's teacher, and there must be a way." As he was about to leave, Yang Jiao immediately stopped him. "Slow down, this Holy Lord is fine." After speaking, a majestic demonic aura stood on the top, and a mesmerizing demonic power suppressed all the demons in the main hall of the Demon Palace, half kneeling under the seat. Yang Jiao looked at the trembling guards of the Demon Palace, as well as the stiff demonic bodies of the 4 sages of the Demon Palace, and immediately withdrew his pressure. Yun Qingfeng said lightly, "This time of seclusion, I have a feeling in my heart. In order to further my magic skills, the 4 sages don't need to worry too much. Let's step down." The 4 sages of the Demon Palace felt Yang Jiao's surging and powerful magical power, and their worries suddenly came to an end. They all said in unison, "I will comply with your orders." After speaking, I left. As soon as the hungry ghost left the main hall, he couldn't help but sigh at the 3 demons. The sage is truly unparalleled in talent. Compared to the sage of the past few days, his strength has greatly increased. Without hesitation, he said, "Not only is today's sage not only in strength, but also in prestige, much more so." Shura nodded and agreed. Indeed, the Holy Lord's aura is much sharper than before. It's not good to talk about the demon lord behind the scenes, and the starving ghost immediately ended the topic. "Alright, let's take what the sage has entrusted to us to heart. Otherwise, when the sage leaves the pass and is punished by the sage, I won't plead for your mercy." The dragon laughed and retorted, "Don't worry, if you don't handle things well, I won't plead for you." The two demons next to them watched as they choked on each other, laughing silently and shaking their heads repeatedly. On the other hand, Yang Jiao first made a move to leave the secret room and then quietly arrived at the forbidden area of the Yin Moon Demon Palace, the Phantom Wave Pool. Carefully feeling the powerful seal in the pool, as well as the extremely cold and heavy demonic energy beneath the seal, Yang Jiao couldn't help but sigh. It was truly a demon pool that sealed the true body of the 7 generations of resentment couple, and the demon and resentment inside were truly immense. The plot has not yet begun, and the moon demon has not completely replaced the Empress Dowager Qiannu. It still lurks in the depths of her primordial spirit, appearing and disappearing from time to time, which is not a concern. However, it's better to be cautious as his true body has no cultivation at all. Immediately, using the Qi armor formed by the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Classic as a principle, a layer of invisible barrier is set up outside the Fantasy Wave Pool to prevent the Moon Demon inside the Yin Moon Empress Dowager from being disturbed when the seal of the Fantasy Wave Pool is opened. After doing everything, he took out a token from his pocket, which was the only key to open the Magic Wave Pool. Yang Jiao raised his token towards the entrance of the pool, and as the token lit up, the water in the pool began to churn and spin. In a moment, a man and a woman floated in the air, with the handsome men and the cute and beautiful women. He looked at his true body, which looked exactly like him, and immediately waved his hand. He saw the male body approaching Yang Jiao's side, while the female body slowly sank into the bottom of the pool. Feeling close to his true body, he felt a genuine sense of closeness from the bottom of his heart, and a sense of blood connection surged one after another in his heart. Yang Jiao no longer hesitated and lay his true body horizontally in front of him. He immediately crossed his knees and sat down, then extended his hands and used magic techniques to cast spells. He began to inch by inch open up the relevant acupoints and orifices of his true body regarding the heaven-slaying sword technique and the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Classic. Only then will his progress in restoring cultivation double when he enters the true realm of the Lord. Moreover, with this only being a revision, as well as the ability of the Lord of the Fixed Yin and the 7 generations of resentment within his true body, the previously mentioned magic skills are not unfounded. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Making the Qiannu Dynasty Once Again Great 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Making the Qiannu Dynasty Once Again Great 2. 1 year later, inside the Magic Wave Pool. 2 men with identical looks are sitting facing each other. Suddenly, a piece of skin fragment fell from the position of one of the men's cheeks, but no blood was seen. As the fragment turned into dust in the air, eerie black hole appeared on his face. Immediately after, fragments kept falling from the man's face, causing him to explode uncontrollably and his entire body to shatter. In the blink of an eye, the man turned into flying ash and disappeared without a trace. After an unknown amount of time, 2 dark and deep eyes flashed, and a long sigh sounded in the phantom pool. After all, I have refined myself again. Yang Jiao sat silently, operating the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor scripture inside his body. Sure enough, with its natural geographical location, personal experience, and accumulated 7 lifetimes of resentment, as well as the cultivation power just absorbed from the demon body, the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Classic has finally reached its 8th level. As for the heaven-slaying sword technique, after a year of continuous adjustment and adaptation with its 7th generation demon body, it has returned to the 7th level. After that, all you need is a life and death struggle, and you will definitely break through the 8th level. Yang Jiao saw that he had achieved his purpose when he came, so he didn't hesitate too much. He stood up and withdrew the previously set barrier, quietly returning to the previously closed secret room. Boom boom boom. In just a few breaths, Yang Jiao opened the door of the secret room, and then he made a breakthrough with a magical technique, his breath surging uncontrollably. The guards not far from the secret room saw the situation and quickly approached to pay their respects, congratulating everyone. Congratulations to the Holy Lord for achieving great magic skills. No gift, Yang Jiao instructed indifferently, go and pass on the imperial edict of the Holy Lord, but it is impossible to summon the mirror. The 4 sages of the Demon Palace and all the demons within the Yin Moon Demon Palace will wait in the open-air hall. Yes. The open-air hall is vast and boundless, with no shelter in it. All it has is the deep and heavy magic power that scares countless demons. This is due to the unintentional use of their own magical skills day after day, year after year, by successive sages. In less than a quarter of an hour, countless demons from the Yin Moon Demon Palace flocked to the outdoor hall. For a moment, the atmosphere in the main hall was extremely lively. The guards who went to pass the order had already sent Yang Jiao out of the pass, and they had been informed of the further progress of his magic cultivation. The holy monarch of the Yin Moon dynasty and countless demons are one entity, one prospering and one losing. Nowadays, the cultivation of the holy emperor has advanced even further, which means they are one step closer to overthrowing the Xuanqin sect and capturing the human world. In an instant, a towering demonic aura that was both familiar and unfamiliar to countless demons approached, causing all kinds of demons in the hall to stand silently in their respective positions. At the top of the main hall, there is a triple rooftop separated from the open ground. The highest point is the seat of the Holy Emperor's throne, and standing on the double rooftop is a middle-aged elegant scholar wearing a white robe. It was the teacher who taught Yang Jiao the way of the king in various magical swordsmanship from a young age, but Jing missed the opportunity. Due to the premature death of the previous generation of the 4 sages of the Demon Palace, they are also the teachers of the contemporary 4 sages of the Demon Palace. Below are the 4 sages of the Demon Palace who have fulfilled their duties this year. At this moment, on the high triple rooftop, within the throne, a young man with a black cloak on the outside and a white leather vest on the inside, his long curled hair draped over his shoulders, looked down at the audience with a broadsword posture. See your majesty. Thousands of demons and demons respectfully worship and see you. All officials are exempt from courtesy. All the demons and demons stood up, waiting patiently to listen. Yang Jiao watched with satisfaction as if there were endless demons under the stage, truly the most elite existence in the Yin dynasty. His face was solemn, his orders were forbidden, and he was free from the scattered and formless characteristics of demons and monsters. He silently watched the demon of His Highness, silent for a long time, just as all the demons were puzzled. Yang Jiao's deep and magnetic voice came. I once heard an anecdote about trees' beauty in the forest, where the wind will surely destroy them. When it comes to wandering in the world, the most taboo thing is being too outspoken. If it's too bad, someone will come and destroy you, and if it's too cowardly, someone will come and trample on you. But if you are too good or too strong, there are still some people who won't trust you. They will suppress you and distance you. Only when you are similar to them will they accept you with peace of mind. As Yang Jiao followed the path, a strange feeling of empathy emerged in the hearts of all the demons. This refers not only to the world of rivers and lakes, but also to the demons in the demon realm. Yes, it's not just that we demons are too outstanding and unconventional, which leads to the exclusion and estrangement of ordinary people, but also the suppression and extermination of so-called righteous people. So in the martial arts world, the most carefree people are those who know how to disguise themselves like others. I don't know if everyone agrees, Yang Jiao asked calmly. What is the most carefree? It's just those who live a miserable life and are afraid of death. A crisp and cold voice rang out, and Shura spoke up. The evil dragon nodded at the words. Not bad, I was born between heaven and earth. How could I shrink back and act like a villain? It's only a matter of death. Let's act happily and live in vain. The remaining 2 sages and the demons below all signaled their agreement. At this moment, Jing Wuyuan felt a little strange in his heart. His ideal of achieving coexistence between humans and demons, which had been hidden deep in his soul, had a slight possibility of success if he adopted this method. However, judging from the words and actions of all the demons on site, it is simply impossible for them to do so. Unless there is a powerful and invincible presence that subdues them. Thinking about this, Mirror Wuyuan couldn't help but look at Yang Jiao on the high platform with a bright gaze. Upon hearing the demon's statements, Yang Jiao neither agreed nor opposed them, but instead spoke in a calm and expressionless voice. Since the Great War of Good and Evil 18 years ago, the first 6 saints were killed by the Xuanqin sect in order to regain the 7th generation of the resentful couple and glorify our Yin Moon dynasty. Moreover, due to the Xuanqin sect's 3 realms holy maidens won mindful understanding of the demon qi of the world. Our Yin dynasty has completely closed the Qiannu demon gate that leads to the human world, so we will not have to walk in the human world for 18 years. What is it for? Naturally, it is to enter the human world, destroy the Xuanqin sect, and unify the 3 realms. From now on, we can also live a life of working at sunrise and resting at sunset like humans, and have our own family. In the cold evening, we can hold our children, tell stories, and chat about daily life. At this point, Yang Jiao's tone instantly cooled down. But unfortunately, the righteous way of slaying demons and eliminating demons, the disgust and fear of mortals, make it impossible for us to have a place to stay in the world. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to live in this cave world created with great magic. When Yang Jiao said this, all the demons present showed embarrassment on their faces, with mixed hatred and resentment in their eyes. Of course, more of it was anger and frustration. On the throne, Yang Jiao suddenly stood up, looked around, and passionately said word by word. So, as outsiders, we have no right to choose. Either, he will die by raising his own clan. Either, the demon lord's 3 realms. All the demons heard this and their blood surged up. That's right, this is the joyful life that belongs to them. Now, the domineering Yang Jiao on the throne has directly transformed into the most anticipated and satisfied demon palace saint in their hearts. The 4 sages of the demon palace couldn't help but loudly agree and shout. The demon lord's 3 realms. Then all the demons in the hall shouted loudly. The demon lord's 3 realms. Yang Jiao waved his back and the main hall immediately quieted down. Afterwards, I, the Holy Lord, will unite with all of you. 2 years later, the day when the heavenly demon Chong Qi Sha descends will be the time when our Yin dynasty is once again great. Yang Jiao solemnly spoke to the audience in a high voice. Let the Yin dynasty once again be great. It has to be said that at this moment, Yang Jiao possesses a strange magic that intoxicates all demons. I am immensely convinced that the man on the throne, whom they consider a saint, has absolute strength and can fulfill his promises today. Even Mirror Wuyuan couldn't help but be deeply infected, shaking the ideal that seemed like an air attic in his heart. Looking at Yang Jiao above, he sighed with satisfaction. Growing up. At the corner of his mouth, he drew a curve that he didn't even notice, and then shouted along with all the demons. Let the Yin dynasty once again be great. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Nie Xiaoqian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Nie Xiaoqian. 10 days later. After a conference equivalent to the unification of demons and demons, not only did it strengthen one's reputation, but the internal atmosphere was no longer as depressed and gloomy as before. At that time, it is feared that even if he is exposed not as a demon, but as a 7th-generation vengeful couple, the vast majority of demons in the Yin Moon Demon Palace will be devoted to his incomparable scenery. Of course, a large part of the reason is also due to its own ability to suppress the various grievances of the Yin dynasty. The original plot of 7 Nights is like this, not only saving the Empress Dowager Yin who wanted to destroy the Yin Empire and was possessed by the Moon Demon, but also revealing her identity in the end. I was still begged by Mirror Wuyuan and the 4 sages of the Demon Palace to return to the Yin Moon Demon Palace to preside over the overall situation. Today, his only internal problem is the moon demon possessed by the Empress Dowager Qiannu. The mastermind behind the biggest tragedy of his original self, even with his current strength, is at most only 5 to 5. But this is only secondary. As the mortal enemy of the Qiannu dynasty, the moon demon knows that it was not completely eliminated by the demons in the Qiannu demon palace. It will definitely be attacked by a group, and the moon demon, who is one enemy to many, will definitely not be an opponent, but it is not what Yang Jiao wants. Since his arrival, Yang Jiao has inherited everything he and I have for 7 nights. He also has a deep affection for the Empress Dowager Qiannu, who raised him since childhood. If the people in the Yin Moon Demon Palace find that the Empress Dowager Yin Moon and the Moon Demon are about to merge into one, they will definitely not let the Empress Dowager Yin Moon go. So, for him, he still needs to improve his own strength and overcome all difficulties with strength. With this in mind, Yang Jiao set his mind and suddenly felt a sense. He sighed inwardly, the plot has finally begun. Immediately rise up and fly in one direction. In a few moments, Yang Jiao landed in a hilly plain area. In the Qiannu dynasty, there has always been a legend that the first beauty of the Qiannu dynasty, Blue Demon, wanted to escape from the demon realm and search for her dream true love in order to fall in love with a man on earth. Xiaoqian, what are you looking for? Yang Jiao used this unique technique of teleportation to deliver a message to a beautiful girl on a small mountain peak who looked like her skin was frozen, with bright eyes and white teeth. Heart transmission technique, within 10 zhang, can transmit words with the heart without moving the mouth or pinching spells. Saint, I just got lost. The pretty girl, Nie Xiaoqian, hesitated slightly and then smiled slightly. I'm afraid you've fallen into the old path of Blue Demon. Yang Jiao showed no mercy. Do you know that leaving the demon palace without permission is a capital offense? Nie Xiaoqian saw that she had been exposed and could only truthfully say, I just came to find the secret passage out of curiosity after reading Blue Demon's notes. It's just a search, not a capital offense, right? Yang Jiao said. Do you know that the Blue Demon's letter is a forbidden book of the Yin Moon dynasty, and the stories inside are simply not trustworthy? However, this letter records human love stories, which are very attractive. I just wanted to see if it's true or fake. And, I grew up in the demon palace since I was young, and I have never stepped into the human world. I really want to go outside and see. Brother Chia, just promise me this time. Nie Xiaoqian couldn't help but tilt her head and stubbornly said, otherwise, you can just kill me. Yang Jiao was also very helpless about this. It seems that Nie Xiaoqian was still captivated by the so-called true love in the world and successfully led the moon demon into the world. He couldn't help but sigh, as expected, love is infinite for the innocent and ignorant little fairy. This Nie Xiaoqian is like this, and so is the little fox named Fox Sister in the main world, not to mention the daughter of the Jade Emperor Mother. Yang Jiao didn't argue much either. He was a person who could never wake up and pretended to be asleep. Moreover, since he was not a fish, how could he know the joy of fish? His purpose of coming here now is to make a 100-day promise for Nie Xiaoqian and let her enter the human world. Otherwise, without mentioning Nie Xiaoqing, she wouldn't be able to find a secret passage to the mortal world. Her status as a 7th-generation vengeful couple alone is enough to make all the demons in the Yin Moon Demon Palace stop her in every way possible. So, the so-called 100-day agreement is just a reason to let her go to the mortal world. Of course, this is also for the moon demon to see. He is constantly putting in a lot of effort to set up a game for the 7-worldly couple. If he doesn't follow the routine and does something wrong, it's not beautiful. Dealing with it later would be a waste of his time working hard to improve his strength. For him, time is equivalent to life, and now, in less than 2 years, it is the day when the heavenly demon Chong Chi Sha So, whether it's the initial ideological construction of all the demons in the Qiannu dynasty or the release of Nie Xiaoqian to the mortal world this time, the fundamental goal is not to waste his limited time and to plan for enhancing his strength in the future. Yang Jiao stopped talking nonsense and gently shook his head, using his magic skills and secret techniques to open the Xianning demon gate. Then he walked up to Nie Xiaoqian, who had a surprised expression on her face, spread out his right hand, handed her a blue ball, and introduced it. This gem is called Blue Magic Tears. As long as someone says I love you, with true love, it will emit a dazzling light. In an instant, Nie Xiaoqian's face lit up with joy. Not only could she go to the mortal world this time, but it turned out that the love story of Blue Demon was also true. However, with Yang Jiao's next words, the expression on his face immediately collapsed. You now swear to the demon god that I will give you 100 days to search for your true love in the world. However, if you cannot find your true love within this 100 days, you must return to the demon palace, and you will not step out of it in this life. Upon hearing this, Nie Xiaoqian's heart froze and she didn't hesitate. She swore, and in the end, she added a sentence. If you break your oath, please ask the demon god to take your life. Yang Jiao looked at Nie Xiaoqian's back without hesitation, unwilling to say anything more. At the end of the day, he is not the original 7 knights, but has inherited the emotions of 7 knights. However, his preferences for the 3 views are still his own. Moreover, the resentment of this 7th-generation demon body had already been consumed by him, to the extent that he only had sibling feelings towards Nie Xiaoqian since childhood. Not long after Yang Jiao stepped into the main hall of the demon palace, the 4 sages of the demon palace hurriedly came to meet him. See your majesty. Excuse me, why are you 4 demons so anxious? Yang Jiao asked. Holy Lord, we suddenly noticed that the Xianning demon gate had been opened, and Nie Xiaoqian's breath had disappeared into the demon palace, so we came to report. The hungry ghost explained. No problem, I released Nie Xiaoqian from the Yin Moon demon palace. Upon hearing these words, the 4 sages of the demon palace were shocked and hurriedly spoke up. Holy Lord, Nie Xiaoqian, as a 7th-generation resentful couple, is related to the great cause of our Qiannu dynasty. There should be no mistakes. I hope the Holy Lord can learn from her. Yang Jiao waved his hand, gesturing for the 4 demons to calm down, and said calmly. Don't worry too much, I have already made a 100-day appointment with Nie Xiaoqian and sent out the Earth Dragon Scout to keep an eye on the situation. Seeing the 4 sages of the demon palace with a stubborn expression and a deep sadness in their eyes, Yang Jiao sighed inwardly. 10 days ago, the momentum that made the Qiannu emperor once again great was indeed great. Therefore, he said. Besides, Nie Xiaoqian didn't leave the demon palace and entered the human world. How could she find her 7th-generation resentful couple? As soon as the 4 demons heard this, their eyes lit up, and they couldn't help but suddenly realize. That's right, a complete 7 generations resentment couple is the only way for them to trigger endless resentment on the day when the heavenly demon Chong 7 devils next year destroy the human world, and monopolize the 3 realms. Immediately, he looked at Yang Jiao with admiration and foresight. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Underworld Fountains. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Underworld Fountains. The 4 sages listened to the order. 3 days ago, the Earth Dragon Scout sent by the Holy Lord came to report that the Underworld Yuquan was located in the Forgotten Forest, and the Moxie Sword, like legend, was suppressing the Underworld Yuquan. According to the Earth Dragon Scout, the current Underworld springs are extremely unstable, and it seems that they may erupt soon. I, the Holy Lord, have already asked Teacher Jing to calculate the specific time when the Underworld Fountain will erupt. However, the demonic energy of the Underworld's Yuquan is unstable now. If you act recklessly and break into the Forgotten Forest, even a slight mistake may trigger an outbreak of demonic energy. At that time, not only will there be calamity in the human world, but our Qiannu emperor will also perish without a fight. So, wait for you to dispatch the elite of the 800 demon palace and follow me to guard the Forgotten Forest, while teacher Jing is behind to coordinate and keep track of the movements of the Xuanqin sect. It is expected that they will be eager to obtain this treasure, which is known as the first divine sword of the righteous path. We'll give him a wait for the rabbit first. This time, for the first time in the nearly 20 years of the Qiannu emperor's reign, I have entered the human world. I must prepare more big gifts as a gift for our old friends to meet. Yang Jiao ordered with a cold tone. Remember, bring as many Yin thunder as you can to this holy lord in the demon palace. Obey me. The 4 demons suppressed their excitement and loudly replied, after shrinking in the Yin Moon demon palace for so many years, they can finally avenge the hatred of the 6 holy sovereigns and their father, the 4 sages of the demon palace, during the great war of good and evil. So, I couldn't wait to dispatch troops. Yang Jiao looked at their rushing backs, his eyes dimmed, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised. This trip to the Forgotten Forest also filled him with anticipation, and the deeper reason was that this trip could definitely further enhance his own strength. The Underworld's secluded spring is formed by the accumulation of resentment from the heavenly demon clan in the human world, and later serves as a gathering place for demonic energy in the world. Its purpose is to wait for enough accumulated demonic energy to erupt and erode the 3 realms in one fell swoop. However, this Underworld spring, where both the righteous and demonic realms view each other like snakes and scorpions, avoiding the plague god, is what he dreams of. It can be said to be their poison and my honey. There is nothing in the world that can more efficiently enhance his strength than the Underworld's Yuquan. Absorbing the demonic energy from the Underworld's secluded spring not only allows for a critical increase in cultivation into strength, but also allows for a genuine attack on the mysterious heart. Why not do it? You should know that the murderer of this biological father is now the authentic Jin Guang of Xuanqin. One day later, in front of the Xianning Demon Gate in the open-air hall, the 4 sages of the Demon Palace, dressed up and ready to go, led 800 elite soldiers, standing quietly behind Yang Jiao. Holy Lord, one knight sword. Shura walked forward and respectfully handed over a long sword that was all black and ancient, which was the sword of the first knight saint who founded the Yin Moon Empire. It is cast by the only 6 harmony gold heroes in this world, extremely strong and strong. After being nurtured by demon rulers throughout history, it contains infinite magical energy in infinite power. Yang Jiao took the sword tool, which symbolized the power of the Yin Moon Holy Lord, and hung it from his waist, then shouted loudly. Depart. Immediately, all demons mounted the black dragon horse specially raised by the nearby demon palace. These black dragons and horses all have the bloodline of dragons, which can soar through clouds and mist, traveling thousands of miles a day. Yang Jiao rushed into the Xianning Demon Gate ahead of others, and the 4 sages of the Demon Palace led 800 men and horses, closely following behind. During the rotation of time and space, when the sky lit up, Yang Jiao frowned slightly as he looked at the empty and uninhabited wilderness. As a holy land that all demons in the world aspire to, the Yin Moon Demon Palace naturally possesses pure and abundant Yin cold spiritual energy, also known as demonic energy. In the human world, unless it is a specific region, there is only pure heaven and earth spiritual energy, and absorption is not as convenient as magic energy. So much so that in the Demon Palace, under the influence of the heavenly and Yin Lord, Yang Jiao's body instinctively absorbs the demonic energy, guiding the cultivation to operate on its own, so that he can clearly perceive that he is constantly becoming stronger. The contrast brought about by the environmental change led to a slight discomfort in Yang Jiao's heart. Without overthinking, the Xianning Demon Gate, as the gateway to the Yin Moon Emperor's cave world, can locate any position in the human world. At this moment, they were 300 miles away from the Forgotten Forest, so they continued to drive away. At the same time, in a place resembling a fairyland beyond the sky, beneath a waterfall filled with spiritual energy and above a lake, 3 equally beautiful women sat cross-legged in a white lotus, meditating in a triangular position. Suddenly, the woman in the first place seemed to sense something, opened her eyes, and practiced the technique of telepathic transmission. Zhuke, 300 miles away from the Forgotten Forest, nearly 1,000 streams of demonic energy suddenly appeared, one of which was even stronger than the 6 paths back then. Please notify the sect leader as soon as possible. In the authentic Xuanqin sect, there are 4 Xuanqin generals who are practicing Dharma protection for the Xuanqin sect leader. One of them has cinnabar marks on her eyebrows, which startles the female cultivator dressed as a female general. Quickly move forward, salute and report. Patriarch, the 3 realms holy maiden unleashed her one mind to fully understand the world's demonic energy. While patrolling the world's demons, she discovered the traces of the Yin Emperor. Above the main position of Tuanpu, there is an inner village wearing a white robe and a golden robe, with a graceful complexion. The golden flame pattern between the eyebrows highlights the bright cinnabar scars, and the fan-shaped hairpin at the back of the head makes the entire Taoist even more luxurious and natural. This is the leader of the Xuanqin Orthodox sect, who is now the current national teacher and the leader of the largest sect of the righteous path, Jin Guang. As the golden light ceased to recover, he calmly spoke up and asked, "Yin demon, where are you now?" For some reason, nearly 1,000 demons suddenly gathered 300 miles away in the Forgotten Forest. Jin Guang opened his eyes and immediately ordered, "Zhuke, quickly send your disciples to investigate the specific movements of the Yin Moon Demon Palace. In addition, send another group of people to investigate what happened in the Forgotten Forest. Only by knowing oneself and the enemy can you be invincible in 100 battles." "Yes," Vermilion Bird replied and immediately went down to send someone. "Master, shouldn't it be the 7th generation of the resentful couple?" Qing Long, one of the 4 generals in Xuanqin, guessed. The white tiger beside Qing Long saw the golden light pondering and remained silent, and couldn't help but affirm. The last time the Yin Moon Demon made such a big move was when they were fighting between good and evil to seize the 7 generations grudge couple, and this time it must have been closely related to them. At this moment, Xuanwu listened to the analysis of the 2 and nodded repeatedly. The ambition of the Yin Moon dynasty and the disciples of the Xuanqin sect were all unknown. Apart from the 7 generations of resentful couples, who could make them fight fiercely? Upon hearing this, Jin Guang did not deny it and pondered for a moment before saying in a slow voice, "The top priority is not only to understand the true intentions of these Yin Moon demons, but also to be prepared to slay and eliminate them. We must not act rashly. If it is these demons' tricks that fall into trap and lead to imprisonment, it will not be worth the loss." So, he ordered the remaining Xuanqin 3 generals, "Hurry up and arrange for everyone except the necessary gatekeepers to guard the sect to be ready to travel at any time. After the person arranged by Zhuke returns to report, make plans." "Yes," answered Qinglong, Baihu, and Xuanwu in unison. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Swordsmanship. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Swordsmanship. Outside the forest, Yang Jiao led his army to station and watch. Considering the deep demonic energy of the underworld's Yuquan, if it erupts prematurely, demons with low cultivation skills cannot resist its invasion of demonic energy. Immediately ordered, "Evil Dragon, pass the command of the Holy Lord." The army of the Yin Emperor is camping 50 miles away in the Forgotten Forest. The mysterious heart is already dead, and the Yin Emperor should set up an 8-character flag. Remember, the characters must be big. I want to be tens of miles around, and as soon as I look up, I can see this flag. He said lightly, raising his chin. Then bury all the Yin thunder for me outside the village. Once the Xuanqin sect attacks, it will explode immediately and quickly open the Xianning Demon Gate to return to the Demon Palace. Hungry Ghost, select 50 agile elite soldiers to stay outside the Forgotten Forest and keep an eye on the movement of demonic energy at any time. Shura, immediately command the Earth Dragon Scout to closely monitor the appearance of Xuanqin sect members within a radius of 300 miles. If there are any abnormalities, immediately notify Teacher Jing and prepare to send a large army to assist at any time. Obedience. The 4 sages of the demon palace nodded in unison. An hour later, 50 miles away from the Forgotten Forest, a well-organized camp rose up, surrounded by thunder and lightning. The 4 sages of the demon palace also returned to the main camp to report. Yang Jiao looked at the 4 demons, thought for a moment, and then instructed them. People of Xuanxin Zhengzong will not be easily provoked and act recklessly. As long as Xuanxin Zhengzong leads his disciples outside the stronghold and remains undecided. Immediately instruct Teacher Jing to lead the army to bring all the remaining Yin Thunder from the demon palace, and open the Qiannu demon gate 10 miles behind the authentic Xuanxin sect without moving. I, the Holy Lord, want to see if they will fight or not in a dilemma. Upon hearing these words, the 4 sages of the demon palace couldn't help but look at each other and exclaim in awe. Obey me. Okay, let's go. Follow me to the Forgotten Forest to see how the Underworld's secluded spring is now. Yang Jiao said in a low voice after seeing that the trivial matter had been resolved. Holy Lord, the Underworld's secluded spring is the gathering place of evil energy in the world. From Yin to evil, you belong to the Yin Moon Emperor. Why don't you send the Earth Dragon Scout first? Wu Jin spoke with a positive expression on his face. After hearing this, Yang Jiao couldn't help but laugh in his heart. The existence of the Yin Ming Stele made him the ancestor of demonic energy and the source of all demons. So, Yun Qingfeng lightly rejected Shura's proposal. No problem, my holy lord just arrived with a blessed spirit and suddenly felt that the Underworld spring was my blessed land, which could help me further my magic skills. Holy Lord. For a moment, upon hearing Yang Jiao's incoherent words, he couldn't help but panic. Shura couldn't help but want to speak up and persuade him. He was immediately stopped by Yang Jiao's hand and then strode out of the tent, flying towards the forest of forgetfulness. In response, the 4 demons could only look at each other helplessly and quickly followed suit. On the way, they also secretly wondered, isn't this magic skill just broken through for less than half a month? Why is it breaking through again? When will cultivation be so simple? Based on the map drawn by the Earth Dragon Scout, Yang Jiao brought along the 4 sages of the demon palace and soon arrived at a mountain cave. A letter on the cave entrance, a cave of despair. The hungry ghost exclaimed in surprise, I didn't expect the underworld fountain to be in a cave. Suddenly, a thick fog arose at the entrance of the cave, and a black shadow flickered and appeared. Where are the demons? The Holy Lord of the 7 Knights of the Yin Moon Dynasty dares to act recklessly in front of him. The evil dragon is the one who upholds the legitimacy of the Yin Dynasty. In his heart, the Yin Saint is the supreme existence above all else, and he directly comes from the background to shout. As soon as he finished speaking, a messy old man appeared in front of Yang Jiao and everyone. Shura fixed his gaze and couldn't help but ask. Holy Lord, although this old man has a human touch on his body is filled with evil energy, and he looks like a monster that is neither human nor demon. Yang Jiao is familiar with the plot and naturally knows who the person in front of him is. Shaking his head and sighing uncontrollably. Shura, this is not a monster, he continued with a slightly sarcastic joke. I didn't expect that many years ago, Yan Qixia, the supreme leader of the Xuanxin True Sect, who claimed to be the highest in the world's righteous path, would end up like this. It's really interesting. Yan Qixia. The 4 sages of the demon palace exclaimed in shock, looking incredulously at the messy old man in front of them, who was full of demonic and alcoholic energy. He, I didn't expect Yan Qixia to withdraw from the righteous path for so many years, and the Yin Emperor still remembers me vividly. I really feel ashamed. Yan Qixia chuckled with a self-deprecating tone. The 4 sages of the demon palace were shocked and they saw the old man in front of them admitting his identity, and their eyes showed a murderous intent. Back then, it was Yin Xiaoqian who led the disciples of the Xuanqin sect to kill the first 6 saints and the 4 sages of the demon palace. Yin Xiaoqian, look at your current appearance. With such a heavy demonic aura, you are not considered a righteous person. It makes most of the monsters in the Yin Emperor's dynasty feel inferior. It's better to abandon the way and become demonic, correcting and returning to evil, Yang Jiao joked. Yin Xiaoqian sneered. What kind of righteous and demonic way? I seek my own way in the world. Kid, this is not the place where your Yin Emperor should come. Please leave quickly. Without waiting for Yang Jiao to reply, the hungry ghost angrily rebuked, being reckless. As they spoke, the 4 sages of the demon palace drew their long swords, their bodies filled with fierce and demonic light. At this moment, Yang Jiao also held the handle of his Ishi sword in his right hand and said in a slow voice. I have heard for a long time that the Yin Xiaoqian Taoist method is profound, and I, the Holy Lord, would like to live and learn from it. Your father hates me for all 6 things, and even with your inexperienced young man, you dare to show off your demon lord's authority in front of me. Yin Xiaoqian has abandoned her sword and retreated to seclusion. She has long been involved in the conflict between the righteous and evil realms. I advise you not to take action, otherwise I will not hesitate to eliminate you, the Yin Moon Demon Lord, for the benefit of the world. Yang Jiao did not deny that Yin Xiaoqian was a demon herself, and coldly replied. At the beginning of heaven and earth, the right path emerges, and the evil path extends. Former Xuanqin sect leader, perhaps you still don't know that without a demon path, where can the right path come from? As Yang Jiao spoke, his eyes slowly began to flicker with strange magic, and he spoke slowly. If we insist on comparison, it's better to compare the righteous path to a sheep, while the demonic path is a wolf. Yin Xiaoqian, when you want to protect your sheep from wolves' harm, then for wolves, this kind of protection is equivalent to destruction, because they will suffer as a result. Starving to death. This world is like this. Either the wolf dies or the sheep dies. It's not a weak wolf who starves to death, but a weak sheep who is bitten to death. Perhaps this world is too cruel, but it is beautiful because of it. In an instant, Yang Jiao was permeated with an incredibly strong demonic aura, until he felt that the demonic aura was about to condense. A powerful demonic aura rose up from the ground, as if to shield the sky. In an instant, the celestial phenomena changed color, and lightning and thunder shook the void. The wind and clouds surged, making one feel intimidated. Sing! The fierce and crisp sound of the sword's chant echoed out into the sky, intertwining the boundless demonic energy with the void wind and thunder, condensed into the sword's body overnight. As Yang Jiao swung his sword and slashed it, a dazzling sword light burst forth fiercely and sharply. Wherever the sword light passes, everything turns into dust, the technique of chopping the sky and pulling out swords. Yin Xiaoqian had not yet had a chance to lament the demonic nature in this little demon's heart, which was simply more timely than the 6 paths. A look of shock appeared on his face, never expecting the young man in front of him, who was only 20 years old. Not only did he master the swordsmanship that the 6 paths had expended countless efforts and time to master, but he was also more fierce and ruthless than the 6 paths. Without much time to think, he quickly used his lifelong skills to transform into vigorous energy to protect his body, and then used his debut method to resist. He thought of breaking up this fierce and unparalleled sword light. Heaven and earth have no limits, the mystical mind is the right method, capturing. Strong and pure magic, emitting a strong and bright light, transforms into a golden talisman in the air, charging towards the sword light, wanting to crush it. Yin Xiaoqian secretly exclaimed in her heart that she was not doing well. Her demonic energy had entered her body, and she had not been able to exert all her strength. She also did not expect the new holy prince of the Yin Emperor's court. Just a young boy who is still inexperienced, he has mastered 600-year-old sword techniques, and he is much more powerful than the old boy from 6 Dao. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Serious Injury. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Serious Injury. But unexpectedly, the golden talisman had not yet approached, and instead was shattered by the sword energy overflowing from the sword light. Upon seeing this, Yin Qixia secretly licked her tongue. Unexpectedly, Yang Jiao's cultivation level was so deep that he was no less impressive than him. Unfortunately, his current state was not at its peak. I can only grit my teeth and grip my scalp to resist. With 12% of my internal strength, I hit 12 talismans in succession, pressing towards the sword light. At this moment, Yang Jiao's Ishi sword had already returned to its sheath, calmly watching Yin Qixia's movements. If the power of the heaven-slaying and sword-pulling technique was really only this simple, it wouldn't be the ultimate skill of the Holy Emperor of the Yin Ming Dynasty. It is a ultimate swordsmanship that combines the essence, energy, and three treasures, and combines the majestic magic energy to break through beyond its own limits. Not to mention that her own skills are now on par with Yin Qixia's. The sword technique of slaying heaven and pulling sword is specifically designed to fight for surpassing her level. Simply put, Yin Qixia has lived in the despair cave for a long time, and her body has been infected by the demonic energy in the Yin Xiaoqian, so she cannot fully exert her strength. In his current state, how could he possibly withstand this sword? Whether it's too late or too fast, Yin Qixia saw the 12 talismans being crushed one by one. My eyes darkened, and I didn't know what was on my mind. A resolute expression appeared on my face. Heaven and earth are boundless, with a profound and righteous mind, and the 5 elements divine thunder. Yin Qixia pinched the mantra and recited the mantra, exerting all her strength to bring out the magic within her body, and turning the righteous energy of heaven and earth into divine thunder. A thunderous aura with a diameter of 3 feet roared towards the sword light. Bang! The collision of sword light and divine thunder forced the space to vibrate with a rustling sound, and the surroundings were filled with rolling smoke and dust, flying sand and stones shooting fiercely. Yang Jiao immediately jumped up with the 4 sages of the demon palace, standing on the void and looking down. Holy Lord, has Yin Qixia been beheaded by the sword? Asked Wu Jian behind him in an excited tone. If the cultivation of Xuanqin's authentic cultivation ability is based on talismans, it can be divided into 4 levels. Yellow, purple, gold, and blood. The yellow talisman level is the authentic disciple of Xuanqin, while the purple talisman level is an expert at the level of elder divine generals. The golden talisman level is the level of the main sect leader of the Xuanqin sect. Currently, only the Yin Qixia Sima Sanniang couple, as well as the contemporary Xuanqin sect leader Jin Guang, are experts at this level. As for the level of blood symbols, among the successive masters of Xuanqin sect, there are very few who can reach this level. My Holy Lord's Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Sutra has not yet reached perfection, but it has reached the 8th level, and the heavenly sword-pulling technique has only reached the 7th level of perfection. In pure terms of cultivation and skill, they are roughly equal. Although I was in the upper hand just now, I'm afraid it wouldn't be so simple to die at Yin Qixia's desperate gamble. You should know that Yin Qixia is a master of the righteous path that has shaken the world. She has driven away demons and demons for decades and has never failed, Yang Jiao replied casually. Upon hearing this, the 4 sages of the demon palace grinned and said, Your Highness, do you know how to use a move to slay the famous Yin Qixia? Is it roughly equal? In no time, the smoke and dust dissipated below, with pits and potholes, and the devastated land was first revealed. Yang Jiao and the 4 sages of the demon palace looked over and saw that Yin Qixia was nowhere to be seen, whether she was alive or dead. The 4 sages of the demon palace landed first on the ground and quickly began searching for the traces of Yin Qixia. Not long after, the 4 demons reported to Yang Jiao but did not find his figure. Yang Jiao was not surprised by this either. In terms of Yin Qixia's injuries, not dying is also a heavy blow, so there is no need to worry too much. He led the 4 sages of the demon palace into the despair cave. As soon as he entered the cave entrance, he saw the bottom of the cave. There is a deep tunnel filled with deep and soul-corrupting demonic energy. The source of the demonic energy gathered at the end of the tunnel is even more terrifying for the 4 sages of the demon palace, who are great demons. Holy Lord, the demonic aura emanating from this underworld spring is difficult to create even if it gathers the power of our Yin dynasty. Let's retreat first and then consider, said Wu Jian beside Yang Jiao. At this moment, Yang Jiao could clearly perceive that the rich and pure magic energy was continuously absorbed by his body, following the operation of the heavenly demon holy armor classic. The efficiency of absorption is also constantly improving, and soon the magic energy in the tunnel is absorbed completely. He couldn't help but open his hands, with a look of intoxication on his face, and couldn't help but sigh inwardly. It was great, there was a feeling of returning home. At this time, the 4 sages of the demon palace also noticed the abnormality of Yang Jiao and the obvious changes in the environment. Holy Lord, they looked at Yang Jiao with concern in unison. In vain, Yang Jiao opened his eyes and a pair of pupils, infected with demonic energy and revealing a deep blue color, flashed by. It's nothing, I have never been so good before. After speaking, he ordered, Shura, evil dragon, and hungry ghost, go back to the big tent camp to oversee the overall situation, and keep an eye on the movements of the Xuanqin sect at all times. Wu Jian, you stay here and protect me. The 4 sages of the demon palace saw that Yang Jiao had a clear mind and no signs of being injured or backfiring. They immediately suppressed their worries and took orders to leave. At the same time, the 4 sages of the demon palace were shocked in their hearts, wondering what level Yang Jiao's magical cultivation had reached. This kind of demonic energy is something they can't even avoid getting infected with. How could they actively absorb it and use it for practice? As Shura, the dragon, and the hungry ghost returned to the camp, Yang Jiao sat outside the despair cave as a protector. He slowly walked into the tunnel and headed straight towards the entrance of the underworld's secluded spring. On the other side, Yan Qixia's face was like golden paper, staggering straight towards a direction. Not long after, a continuous mountain villa came into view, and the plaque on the front door read the 4 characters, Desperate Love Villa. Yan Qixia held out her breath and finally reached the entrance of the desperate mountain villa. Finally, unable to hold on, he fell on the edge of the door and trembled as he reached out his right hand and knocked heavily. In no time, a man in red opened the door and saw Yan Qixia lying on the ground. He quickly went back to inform Sima Sanniang in the villa. Quickly, a charming beauty with an anxious expression rushed over. Looking at Yan Qixia, who was seriously injured and scarred, she immediately mobilized her magic and cast spells to make healing talismans. In no time, Yan Qixia was covered in talismans for treating external injuries, and a row of talismans for treating internal injuries hung on her forehead. After finishing, he immediately squatted and helped Yan Qixia up, gently shaking and shouting. Yan Qixia, Yan Qixia. Sima Sanniang saw that Yan Qixia was still not awake, and she cast a spell with one hand to enhance her magical power on the talisman at Yan Qixia's forehead. Suddenly, Yan Qixia's eyelids twitched. Seeing this, Sima immediately shouted. Big beard, big beard. Sanniang, I didn't dream, did I? Yan Qixia opened her eyes in a daze, seemingly unable to believe her own eyes. Big beard, it's me. How could you hurt yourself like this? After speaking, I wanted to quickly bring Yan Qixia into the mountain villa to treat her injuries. Sanniang. Yan Qixia spoke up to stop and grabbed Sima Sanniang's forearm. With a smile on her face, she said with great satisfaction. I'm really happy to hear that you haven't called me that in a long time, and to see that you care about me again. I know I'm old and saying such things is a bit excessive, but I'm afraid if I don't say it now, I won't have the chance to say it again in the future. I'm dying from a serious injury just to say a few words from my heart to you, Yan Qixia said, coughing up blood. Big beard, Sima Sanniang shook her mind and hurriedly said. No, you forgot my medical skills, but the world is first class, and I will definitely not let you die. After speaking, he wanted to quickly help Yin Qixia up, but was tightly grabbed by his hand. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Sima Sanniang. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 9. Sima Sanniang. The most proud thing for the foolish man Yin Qixia in this life is not to become the head of some Xuanqin Orthodox sect, but to meet you for the last time before dying. I have already died without regrets. The intense pain in Yin Qixia's internal organs made him cough a few times, take a deep breath, and continue. From now on, Yin Qixia will never make you angry again. The hatred between us is indescribable, and I no longer expect you to forgive me. But I must make it clear to you, perhaps you think that I live in a cave of despair, day and night thinking about winning the Moi sword to make up for my mistake towards Hongye. No, I'm going to suppress the underworld spring under the Mo Xie sword. The underworld Yuquan is a gathering place for demonic energy in the world. In the past decade or so, the Mo Xie sword has been unable to suppress the underworld Yuquan. Based on my calculations, it will erupt in less than 3 or 4 months, causing an irreversible catastrophe. I had already decided before that, as the underworld secluded spring was about to erupt, I would jump into the eye of the spring and use my lifelong skills to suppress it, hoping to prevent a catastrophe. Unfortunately, human calculations are not as good as divine calculations. Cough, cough, cough. After several intense coughs, Yin Qixia's tiger eyes choked up with tears at the end. Sanniang, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I shouldn't have taught Hongye any mysterious secrets. Yin Qixia was very wrong and her crime is unforgivable. After speaking, Yin Qixia's face turned red, her blood surged up, and she spewed out a large mouthful of blood. She collapsed and fainted in the embrace of Sima Sanniang. Sima Sanniang looked at Yin Qixia, who had a lingering aura in her arms, and quickly shouted. Big beard, I won't let you have anything to do. After speaking, he walked into the villa with Yin Qixia and the previous man in red. 1 month later, Xuanqin became authentic. Master, haven't we already identified the movements of the Yin dynasty? Why don't we go to the Forgotten Forest as soon as possible and eliminate these Yin demons in one fell swoop? The white tiger among the 4 generals of Xuanqin quickly called out. The other 3 generals beside him nodded in agreement. The first Jin Guang said in a deep voice. The Yin Moon demon head has always been extremely cunning. In the battle between good and evil, even if we set up the Earth Demon formation with all the disciples of the Xuanqin sect, and ultimately killed 6 demons, we were still taken away by the Yin Moon Emperor's 7th generation vengeful couple's baby girl. Secondly, no trace of the 7 generations resentful couple was found. The Yin Emperor only remained motionless outside the Forgotten Forest, so there must have been deceit. So, before this deployment, it is necessary to understand the true purpose of the Yin dynasty, so that we can hit it with one blow and take its leader. Yes. The 4 generals of Xuanqin were somewhat unwilling to follow the instructions. At the same time, in the Heartless Villa, Yin Qixia's body has finally recovered from her life-threatening state, but in order to fully recover her vitality, it will take at least 1 or 2 months to slowly recuperate. In the bedroom, Yin Qixia looked pale at Sima Sanniang and sighed softly. I didn't expect Yin Qixia's fate to be so hard. Where is your life hard? You have to thank me for my life-saving pill and I still have 1 left, and I will take it for you in a timely manner. Otherwise, just because of your injury, you will be dead long ago. Sima Sanniang said angrily. Yin Qixia smirked and didn't know what to say. At this moment, Sima Sanniang saw that Yin Qixia was not in any big trouble and directly asked. Big beard, aren't you living well in the Despair Cave? Why did you suddenly suffer such a serious injury? Yin Qixia suddenly woke up and said repeatedly. Not good, the demon of the Yin Emperor, I don't know why he suddenly came to the Despair Cave. He must have known the whereabouts of the Underworld's Yuquan. The Mo Xie sword is even more in the Underworld's secluded spring, and these demons may want to bring disaster to the people. Yin Qixia recalled Yang Jiao's demonic words and actions, feeling a great sense of unease in her heart. Under the stress response, I instinctively wanted to get up, but I didn't expect to trigger an injury in my body. I coughed violently and collapsed in bed. Sima Sanniang looked at his ghostly appearance and couldn't help but feel angry, mocking him. Don't always think about your righteous way in the world. I don't want to put in a lot of effort and end up working hard in vain. Yin Qixia shook her head and smiled bitterly, knowing that Sima Sanniang had not forgiven her at all and still had a knot in her heart. He didn't know what to say, so he explained the reason for the injury. I was originally staying well in the Despair Cave, but suddenly I was startled by 5 powerful demonic energies. Upon leaving the cave, I found out that they were the demonic rulers and the 4 sages of the demon palace of the contemporary Yin Emperor. I was unable to exert all my strength when fighting against the Yin Moon Demon Lord due to being close to the Underworld's Underworld. I never expected that the new Demon Lord of the Yin Moon Dynasty, just a young and inexperienced boy, would become a master of the 600-year-old, sky-slaying and pulling sword technique, and he was much more powerful than the old boy of the 6 paths. His magic cultivation had already surpassed the blue and surpassed the blue. So much so that he was defeated in one move and almost died. What? A move? Sima Sanniang looked at Yin Qixia incredulously. That's right. Yin Qixia nodded helplessly. Just as Sima Sanniang was not shocked for a long time, suddenly she shrugged nonchalantly and said. It seems that the Yin dynasty has produced a remarkable demon lord. Sanniang, you. Sima Sanniang sneered. What am I? Oh, I almost forgot. You're a person who can sacrifice even your own daughter to ward off demons and defend the Tao. Sanniang, I. Yin Qixia spoke with difficulty. Forget it, it's been over a decade now, and I've figured it out. If you really wanted to retire from the world without asking about it back then, I wouldn't secretly teach the Red Leaf Xuanqin mysterious technique. After practicing this set of martial arts that is destined to die, I can't believe that the former leader of the authentic Xuanqin sect is also hypocritical, saying one thing and being a villain. Yin Qixia looked at Sima Sanniang vigorously mocking her, feeling both bitter and ashamed in her heart. After Sima Sanniang finished speaking, she still didn't clear her grudge and repaired her sword. You have to thank us for breaking up with each other back then and setting up the Forgotten Realm not for external reasons, but for myself. Otherwise, with your physical injuries, you would never have seen me again. Looking at Yin Qixia's inexplicable appearance, Sima Sanniang sneered and said. The so-called forgetting the extreme realm is to prevent myself from taking a step away from the desperate sentiment villa. It is to prevent me from one day suddenly going crazy and wanting to go out and find you. I would rather die old in this villa than have room to change my mind. Upon seeing Sima Sanniang's resolute words, Yin Qixia couldn't help but ask. Why do you still want to save me and let me die? Isn't it more like your wish? Do you think I'm a hypocrite like you who even cares about your own daughter? I just don't want you to mess up the land of my heartless villa. Sima Sanniang's face froze for a moment, she tilted her head, pretending to be calm and said. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Completing the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Sutra. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Completing the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Sutra. Just as Sima Sanniang was about to leave, Yin Qixia's voice suddenly came from behind. Sanniang, I know that no matter what I do in the future, I won't be able to make you forgive me. I have no right to ask you to forgive me at all. I can't even forgive myself, it's all my own fault. Upon hearing this, Sima Sanniang turned around without a hint of expression and looked at Yin Qixia. I actually wanted to forgive you a long time ago, otherwise I wouldn't have set up the Forgotten Realm to stop me. When I regret it, it's already too late. Because of Hongye, as soon as I see you, I think of the tragic fate that the Xuanqin secret technique has brought to Hongye. Do you know that after practicing the Xuanqin secret technique, you can never stop, otherwise your meridians will reverse and die. When you reach the highest level, you can only use one more move, and in the end, the lamp will wither and die. Sima Sanniang sarcastically stared at Yin Qiaoqian's slightly flushed eyes. Yeah, you know, you're the former leader of the Xuanqin sect, how could you not know? Do you know how much Red Leaf hates us in her heart? We may never see her. Yin Qiaoqian, you have no idea how important Red Leaf is to me, how much I love her. If it weren't for practicing the mysterious heart technique, how could she have run away from home? After speaking, he turned around and left. More than 2 months later, in the pavilion of the Desperate Mountain Villa, Sima Sanniang drank a glass of wine and looked at Yin Qiaoqian, whose injuries had completely healed in front of her. With a calm demeanor, she said. Why are you still licking your face and staying in my heartless villa, unwilling to leave? Yin Qiaoqian persuaded with great distress. Sanniang, the demons of the Yin Emperor are now occupying the underworld's Yuquan. They must have some ulterior motives. If it is for the first divine weapon of the righteous path, the Moxie sword, that the demonic energy inside the underworld's Yuquan erupts, then this world will be over. What's this about me? Sima Sanniang replied while preparing to pour herself wine. Yin Qiaoqian took a sharp step forward, grabbed the wine bottle, and poured the wine for Sima Sanniang, saying. Yes, that's right. It's none of our business, but you also know how heavy the demonic energy of the underworld's Yuquan is. Once it erupts, the first thing to do is to forget about the forest within 100 miles, and all living beings will be turned into ashes. The two of us are the first to bear the brunt. Sima Sanniang, holding the refilled glass, casually replied. Oh, then let's move to a different place to live. With such a big world, where can't we build another heartless villa? Yin Qiaoqian's words choked up in her throat for a moment, and she didn't know how to persuade her. Sanniang, do you really not know, or do you pretend not to know? When the underworld's Yuquan demonic energy erupts, as the demonic energy continues to spread, the whole world will be devastated and turned into ashes. Even if you can't control the rest of the world, what about Hongye? What will Hongye do then? Yin Qiaoqian spoke with great care, moved by emotions, and explained with reason. Sima Sanniang's expression slightly changed when she heard the words Hongye, not knowing what she was thinking. Just as the two of them fell into a silent atmosphere, 2 young men and 1 young woman arrived at the gate of the Heartless Villa. Inside the desperate cave. In the mouth of the underworld's secluded spring, Yang Jiao sat cross-legged in the air. Endless demonic energy gushed out from the spring mouth, enveloping him. The heavenly demon holy armor scripture in his body broke through insurmountable barriers at a speed unimaginable to all the saints of the Yin Dynasty. At this moment, Yang Jiao's magic skills were finally about to be fully realized, achieving the cultivation level of the first-generation Yin Emperor's one-night demon lord. In the past, one night the demon lord lost his love and became obsessed, greatly enhancing his martial arts skills, and thus established the Yin Emperor's court. Now Yang Jiao is also about to reach this level. Even the heaven-slaying sword technique is rapidly breaking through beyond the framework of common practice. Firstly, the 2 divine arts passed down by the holy sovereigns of the Yin dynasty have always been complementary to each other. When the heavenly demon holy armor sutra is about to be fully completed, it also drives a breakthrough in the heaven-slaying sword technique. Moreover, the so-called heaven-slashing and sword-pulling technique is no longer a simple skill level to practice to the highest level, but rather relies on qi and shen. At this moment, Yang Jiao's qi had the heavenly demon holy armor scripture, and the god rapidly increased under the continuous supply of demonic energy from the underworld's secluded spring. The Lord of Heaven, the Lord of Yin and the Lord of the Underworld, absorbs all the negative energy without a lord to strengthen oneself. It is not simply to increase one's martial arts cultivation, but to comprehensively strengthen the three treasures of essence, energy, and spirit, enhancing one's own power of origin. So much so that during Yang Jiao's stay in the Underworld's secluded spring for over 3 months, not only was the Heavenly Demon Holy Armor scripture immediately completed, but also the Heavenly Slaying in sword-pulling technique was about to enter its 9th level, completely completed. Just as Yang Jiao was fully focused on breaking through, he suddenly felt the magical energy surging up from the spring mouth begin to thin and decrease. His figure couldn't help but pause. Since a month ago, his Heavenly Demon Holy Armor Sutra was about to be completed, but it seemed to be only a slight difference, but in fact, it was incredibly high. Endless absorption lasted for a whole month, and he felt like he was about to completely absorb the demonic energy in the Underworld's secluded spring, yet he still couldn't break through successfully. Yang Jiao decided not to do anything, not to rest, and suddenly he bent down and sneaked into the Underworld's secluded spring. The first thing that caught my eye was not some magical energy, but a long sword inserted into the bottom of the spring. Approaching the long sword, he couldn't help but marvel at how enchanting and ferocious the sword was. It was a red and golden sword with a cross-shaped 8-sided body, each with a fierce and sharp hook. If it weren't for the clear perception of an exceptionally strong and righteous aura within the long sword in this underworld and secluded spring, who would have dared to believe that it was the first artifact of the righteous path, the Moxie sword? Yang Jiao couldn't help but hide his belly, and this design style is truly worthy of being a divine weapon forged by the heavenly demon and demon mine. Subsequently, he scrutinized the layout at the bottom of the spring and immediately realized that he had absorbed a large amount of demonic energy before, causing the demonic energy of the Underworld's Yuquan to rapidly decrease. This also led to the Moxie sword, which was supposed to be unable to suppress the demonic energy of the Underworld's Yuquan, causing a significant decrease in pressure. This strengthened the ability of Mo Xie's sword to seal the demonic energy, leading to a gradual decrease in the amount of demonic energy he absorbed above the spring. Yang Jiao immediately reached out and grasped the handle of the Moxie sword, wanting to pull it out. Unexpectedly, as soon as he touched it, the Moxie sword trembled uncontrollably, seeming very resistant. Seeing this situation, he didn't take it seriously either. He knew it was the righteous energy of the Moxie sword and was resisting him. However, it was just an empty possession, so how could he resist it? With a flick of his brush, Yang Jiao pulled out the Mo Xie sword. Suddenly, the vast demonic energy that had been hovering in the Underworld's secluded spring for countless years gushed out and rushed towards him. When this mellow and profound magic energy is sucked into the body, the magic work starts to run at full power like a fully fueled engine. The exhilarating pleasure slightly relaxed the mind, and Mo Xie's sword took the opportunity to release it, flying back and forth in the air like a wild horse without a reins. As time passed, it seemed that the demonic energy of the Underworld's Yuquan was rapidly decreasing. The sword shook and in the blink of an eye, it rushed out of the spring mouth, disappearing without a trace. At this moment, Yang Jiao was deeply immersed in the promotion of magic skills and did not care about the disappearance of Mo Xie's sword. End of this chapter.